With Howard Lindzon, founder and managing partner of Social Leverage, early stage seed investment fund, among other investments.
Yeah.
Robinhood, StockTwits, invented the cash tag.
How lucky you are that I'm here.
Yes. It's honored to be in your presence. You just finished speaking at our conference here in Las Vegas about the degenerate economy. Could we just kind of explain a little bit what you mean by that phrase?
Well, I'm 59. I used to tell people I own and operate 2 millennials. Always got a laugh, even though my kids aren't millennials. People just like to make fun of millennials. And then now I own and operate 2 degenerates. One has a Coinbase account, one vapes, one gambles. They just live a different life, right? They have 24 hours in a day to do things, so degeneracy has just crept into everybody's life with the iPhone and Android and DraftKings, et cetera. So it's become an economy. 50 years ago you had the sin index, booze and tobacco. Well, that's just proliferated into, from Ozempic on down.
You do it from anywhere. It doesn't have to be just Vegas
When it's
anymore.
not just, it's Adderall, it's Ambien to put yourself to sleep, it's coffee, it's all around us.
Right. You also describe it, though, as like part of this, your idea here,
Yeah.
speculation as entertainment,
Yeah.
and investing as a sport.
Yeah. These are great. I didn't make them up, but when the people said those to me, I said, I'm stealing those.
Yeah.
Because it's culture, right? America's always been great at culture, whether it was Coca-Cola, Philip Morris, Google, Apple. So that's what America stood for. I don't know how you beat Apple. You know, Apple's the next Apple. Coca-Cola's the next. They have the capital to buy. Then whether there's liquid death, which I'm an investor in, it probably will end up in Coca-Cola's hands. Yeah. Because of the way index and market cap working. So you just have this incredible explosion of opportunity as people have this spare time to do things. And so they're speculating. You know, when we were young, when I was in my 20s, and you wanted to come to Vegas, it was a whole day affair, and there was no phones, and there was no Uber, and so you stood on a cab line that was, you just took time. Yeah. And you humored yourself, not with your phone. You weren't yelling at strangers on the internet. So with that spare time, and the world went down this rabbit hole of gambling and sports, and so speculation was something that was reserved for aristocrats. Right. And now it's like with Pumped Up Fun I was talking about or something, it's for everybody. Yeah. And it's 24/7, 365. And with stable coins and wallets, it can be a 10-cent bet. And so that's what I mean about degeneracy. Not that you're going to be on the streets because you're a degenerate, because with all this free time you can place bets on anything and know the odds. And with AI, research things with a prompt. So it's inevitable.
Are there any parts of what you're describing here that you're most bullish on? People think sports betting, cryptos.
That's only for my premium subscribers.
Okay.
That's my son. Yeah. He has some pictures of me in a compromising position. No, I mean I give it away for free. I mean we use it. It's the gatekeeper is the phone. Yeah, and you have the degenerate index, which you've talked about as well. I mean, you can't access this unless you have an Android or Apple. I mean, Facebook's come on strong not because they invented glasses, because they partner with Ray-Ban. People will wear Ray-Bans. Right. They won't wear Facebook glasses, like Snapchat's tried. That was a smart move by Facebook to put them in the game, like our glasses. Like I could be talking to you and just winking and placing a bet. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, but I'm saying that's probably going to happen. And I'll be watching odds go on in my face of random games. And again, I just don't know where it's going. But it's going to be your glasses. It's going to be your phone. And so those are the gateways. You got to own them or some variation of that. And then everything else is about the picks and shovels, right? The companies. So I don't want to be GameStop. I don't want to be AMC. I want to be the systems like Robinhood that power all this. Right. And it's a huge economy. So from Goldman Sachs to Philip Morris to Robinhood to Apple. So we're not talking about like goofy things. Right. We're talking about companies that they have thick breadth of profit opportunities for the next 20 years.
All right, I want to ask you just briefly about your seed investing and what do you look for or what are one or two things that you look for when a group or somebody's coming to you with a pitch or an idea? Like, what's something that I guess needs to be there, and what's one thing that will kind of take it off of the table for you?
I mean, a part of it is just being just being open to getting pitched. So it's like doing this any other job. Part of being pitched is like being unwowed, like not wowed most of the time. So you're waiting to be wowed. Okay. It's no different than a script reader or someone, you know, producer making shows. So the question is, how do you filter? How, you know, the idea is to get as many pitches as possible. Okay. So that takes 20 years to be in a position to have expertise to get those. So we're in that position. I write, I share, I have a network. We've been successful. And it's very hard to do. It's very easy to brag about, but like, I don't know many 20-year-olds that can do it. Okay. So I'm 60. So I have the network. I've put on the miles. Then the next thing comes your eyes and your curation, right? So the best funds in my business, as Fred Wilson would say, 50% of our bets are going to be zero. So you have to have a high tolerance for being wrong all the time. Yeah. So that's why I think the people that are successful end up with huge egos. But the idea is you're going to be wrong so often, and yet the ones that you're right on are going to be so right. So generally what it comes down to is you have to have domain experience, I believe. Like, so I know the financial markets. Right. I know the products that I would like to see.
It's like when a Robinhood comes along.
If I had missed it, that would have been the story. Yeah. Like, so what, you know, it goes to a pet peeve is like, it'd be more interesting if you were someone that was at Facebook and left in 2007 to go start a plumbing business because you didn't think the internet was going to be big, right? So everybody that's bragging that they made money, that's not interesting. We just had the greatest boom of all time. Apple, Google, the internet, crypto, ZERP. So we are looking for people that are doing things that interest us. So we put the vibe out there, and then we're trying to find people that have this, like they're just so pissed that this doesn't exist. And when we're wrong, generally they either couldn't build it, they lied to us, or they couldn't build it or recruit, or they built it and no one came. That happens too. But generally it's the person. Right. You know, and then obviously how you price it and what's the size of the market. But generally it's the person.
Gotcha. All right. And you're really great about sharing ideas publicly, and you know that's how I got connected with you many years ago.
I don't know why people don't. I think that was what made StockTwits interesting. Yeah. The idea was hedge funds will never share ideas. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, that was one of the things when I got into this industry.
It was taboo.
I came across your stuff and I was like, really, you're sharing this much stuff? By your howardlindzon.com, by the way, newsletter, which I read fairly regularly. What are the advice for new investors is where I was getting at. With you're really great about sharing that. What's one piece of advice for new investors that you wish you knew maybe earlier in your?
Well, I said it today. It's like index is underrated. Right, it's not sexy like to go buy the S&P or QQQ, but I get asked this every day by people in their 20s and 30s. Like, oh Howard, what would you do? And I'm like, I'd like to be honest and think if I was smart and asked that person that, and indexing was available or direct indexing. Like we're an investor in frec.com, which is just indexing with a direct indexing component of tax efficiency. But I would do less. So the first thing is start. If it's a Robinhood account, start it. It's never been easier to start investing. So hopefully you've already opened an account before you asked me that. And hopefully you've probably lit some kind of money on fire so that you've been burned or you get a scratch. And that you haven't destroyed your nest egg. But start. The next hardest part is it's never been harder to stay invested, right? Because news, your friends, the phone, someone says something to you. I mean, you're young, you're open to all this information. So that's why I like the idea of indexing. So first thing you should do is open an account and buy the QQQ, okay? It sounds terrible. It's just so easy to do. Then start trying to pick a stock.
Get interested
and then try and pick companies that you just use every day. It's hard to go broke if you buy businesses or products that you use every day.
All right. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your time. That is Howard Lindzon on day 3 of the Stansberry Research Conference in Las Vegas.